All right. Welcome to the Blue Byron Books podcast. I am joined by Timothy Hayden II from Los Angeles. How are we doing today?
Oh, it's good, kind of chilly. Kind of chilly out here, but
What's
yeah.
chilly to you in Los Angeles?
Um, probably like 50s in the 50s, low 60s around there. That's like a little bit of chilly.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just spoke to someone in El Paso and they said it was cold and I was like, "What's cold to
oh
you?" They're
yeah,
like
Texas.
50s. Yeah.
Yeah, it's lower. So for sure, I'm alright. That's a different type of cold right there.
It's 43 right now where I am.
Oh, in Chicago.
And it's
Oh
sunny. So this is actually a brilliant day.
no, actually, what you're in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's another different type of cold right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Like I said, right now it's fine. We were 70 and sunny on Monday. It was crazy. It was
Oh
it was
wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
But that's like every now in winter we'll get like 2 days like that just randomly. And this one happened to be on a Monday, but then, it's in the 40s right now, but then it's gonna go back down to the 30s and 20s by the weekend and
Quick,
winter,
uh,
you know.
quick question. Like when you stayed in Chicago, so and they say that that's the Windy City, right? Chicago's
Yeah.
Windy City. So even mostly throughout the year, though, it's like very windy and cold, or even in the summertime, like what you say, like you still get like a cold breeze, but it might warm up a little bit.
Um, so it's undetermined or ambiguous what Windy City means.
Hmm.
There's two. So the obvious one, oh, there's a lot of wind, right? The second one is, I believe, the actual origin of it, and that's um, the hot air from politicians. So they called it the Windy City because Chicago
Mm.
politicians.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just assuming like okay, it's very windy, like it's
It's not
but ju
windy all the time, but I will say, like, in the winter, there'll be stretches. So cold in Wisconsin. So I'm like an hour and a half from Chicago.
Mhm.
Um, but a 180-degree difference in culture and scenery and everything. Um, Wisconsin cold is just like this brutal frigidness. It's just like sheer cold.
Mhm.
Chicago has this type of cold where off the lake you can get these like piercing winds and it's just like in your face brutal.
Mhm.
It's a slightly different kind of cold. Like where I'm at, it'll be like always like 3 to 4 degrees colder,
Mhm.
but the coldness it just hits differently.
Yeah, I couldn't
The
do it.
varieties of coldness.
I don't know how y'all do it. I can't do it. Like
Well,
anywhere where it's
yeah,
like
I
it's
ask myself that
cold.
a lot.
Yeah, like if it's cold most of the time, like I don't know, like I feel like my mood would really be like I feel like my mood would be dark or something like that. Just like it's
Yeah, yeah,
like
man, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's a different type of mentality, you know. It requires this different kind of toughness where like every day you're just
yeah.
like, what the heck? Like, and then every morning is this existential dread of like, what am I doing? It's cold. Like,
Like that's like yeah, I couldn't do it. Like I gotta be somewhere where it's warm where I can, at the very least, I can put on like a thin jacket like this and I'll be all
yeah.
right. You know.
Uh, the biggest thing for me too is like it's more the logistics of everything and the mental it's friction. So in the
Mm,
cold, you never really know how cold it's going to be, and there's all these layers. So you have to consciously put mental energy towards, okay, what do I need today? When I step out the door, what should I not be missing? Whereas like when the
mhm.
weather's warm all the time, you just like walk out of the door,
Right. You,
you
you
know?
can. You can just walk out.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I seen like certain football games, like when the Chicago Bears are home or whatever the case may be, or I watch college games, Illinois, and it's like I'm seeing how cold it is, but I'm seeing these players where it's like they have no long some of the players no long sleeves and this and that, and it's like they just running around like it's regular.
Yeah.
And I've always like, how do they do that? I get it, like the more you move around, your body heats up.
Yeah.
But like even just in a climate like that where regardless of how I'm moving, I feel like the minute I stop, it's like my body is cold. It's like, and I don't
Yeah.
get like, but maybe if you live there for so long, like your body becomes accustomed just to like the weather. So it's
Yeah.
like,
I think in general, yeah.
like that cold, it's like, yeah, it's cold, but it's like now it's like I'm used to it. Like, versus me coming out there never experiencing that type of cold, it's like, oh man, like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Now that we've
Um,
established weather differences, uh, how you been? You just released your fifth book
Fifth book. Just released my fifth book.
right here, A Mind
Yeah,
Left Unchecked
nah,
versus From a Locked Door. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's holding up his copy.
yeah. So, it's like it's crazy. Like, oh, when I first got it, I'm sitting in my room and like I'm flipping through the pages. Now, to me, it's just like I stayed focused. Like I stayed focused. Like, you know, um, I'm always proud of myself for taking myself seriously. Like this is what I want to do. I wasn't just, just talking about it. I was actually doing it, you know. But like truthfully, like I'm trying to have like this humbling feeling like, okay, it's just part of my work. Like I'm trying to focus on now, like the next work. When I posted all five books on my Instagram, like when I posted on the story, I'm having all these people like, so proud of you, congratulations, this and that. And, just to keep the politeness going, saying thank you and this and that. Uh, but yeah, it's that I've been telling myself, for months now, it's like keep that humility and always look at it like this is just part of your work. It's just the work, like the outcome of it is good, but I can't let the outcome feel better than, the process of what it took to actually make all this possible. If that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like the whole when I first started in the whole, like, you know what, I'm gonna write a book. Like I literally woke up off my I still remember it like it was yesterday of, just going through my depression, finding a hobby that I do actually enjoy. And I started off like, like my writing was just so like elementary and it was so trash. But then as I kept going every day, every day, every day, getting better, and just enhancing my vocabulary and then sleeping and like I'm okay. So it's this motivational speaker called ET, Eric Thomas. And he talks about like being obsessed with your dream. You have to sleep the dream, eat the dream, this and that. You have to become really obsessed with it. And just the sleep part of it, right? Like having that, being in my sleep and having that dream of like, hey, I can become a writer. I can write a book. And this is so we're in 2026. This happened in 2018 when it first started. And just that period of serious focus, like the determination and I'm not wavering, like, and going through all the doubts and everything, that right there, that whole journey to me is like, it's more fulfilling. But it feels good though, like because personally, not a lot of people I know have written five books. Like,
Is it, yeah, that's true. Do you find it, was there a difference in your feeling between book one and now book five?
that's a good question. uh,
Which is in 1 year, less
yeah,
than 1 year.
for real though. So okay, when we first did book one, like core values and belief, that was the whole like I guess it's that feeling like when you, I don't know if you have tattoos, right? So I use this analogy, the tattoo analogy. When I first got my tattoo, my first ever tattoo, I was 14. Oh, it was amazing. Like it was cool, But then I know in my head, like, you don't want to just have one tattoo because eventually it's gonna be like, okay, you have like, yeah, the moment of getting the first tattoo is awesome, right? Like you have a tattoo, like you tatted up your skin. But when you just have this one tattoo, like over a course of months and years, it's like, you start to ask yourself, like, am I gonna get more? So yeah, the first book, like it was like amazing. Like I've written a book. Not too many people I know have written one book. And when I posted that, I was getting feedback from people like, man, like that's good. Like I had a draft of my book that I put to the side years ago and this and that. And it's like, man, I should get back into writing my book and
Yeah.
all this stuff. So yeah, it was amazing. But I know for me, like to call myself a writer, it's like I can't just be sitting with one book and let 5 years go by and it's like, oh, I only had one book. It's like,
Mhm.
it'll be like, what have you written? So to have 5 books, for me, it's it is personal, like because I know coming from prison, like okay, you know me from when I was in the cell and who I am now, but I know like old friends, associates, family members, like a lot of them will still have the old me in the back of their heads and not seeing this
Mhm.
new me. So the fact that 5 books is like proof that I said I wanted to be a writer and I have 5 books published so far. So it is like it's like my personal pat on the back, that internal like, you know, uh gratification of like, yeah, I can really, me personally, I can really achieve what I set my mind to as long as I really stay, determined and focused and treat everything serious. It's like, my scheduling, my time, like, I know I need to be cutting out time to, write everything down and, get everything edited, things of that nature. So, like I told you before, all this is it's all new to me. So from the first book to now, I probably would say, I probably would say now is more of a it's more of a joyful feeling because I have 5 instead of 1,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and yeah, it's not to say, okay, like my poetry book, okay, this is my book by myself, right? The other 4 books was you and I, but just that I have 5 books. I have five
Yeah.
books that I've written, like
Yeah.
that is incredible. And I already know, like, as time go on, when I get to 10, when I get to 15, 20, it's like now it's like, oh, like, holy shit, like, man, you have books, like a
Yeah.
whole stack. And, you know, my grandma, I was talking to her one night and, she was proud just to, since I had 5 books and she was like, wow, you could really, you know, had that as a career of being a writer. And I've always said, like that's just a hobby I really love to do, like write. Like I really, because it's therapeutic for me, you know,
Yeah.
just I'm able to challenge myself. I'm able to, the questions that we was coming up with just in Two Views, One Vision, you know,
Yeah.
some of that stuff, like especially in book 2, like, Society and Humanity, those are things where it's like, okay, the questions I had to go and do research. And I'm learning things as I'm researching. It's like, I did know surface level stuff, but I kind of went now a little bit in depth to the knowledge that, you know, I needed to know just to write this book. And it's like that right there, like that growth, knowing that I'm learning and that growth, like
Yeah.
it's something about it now for me, like it's like a blissful feeling that I get versus like material things that I might have accomplished or something like that. Like just that journey, like, oh man, like I'm learning something, like I'm knowing more than what I knew yesterday. or I'm knowing way more than the young adult I was when I was 20 or my 19-year-old self, 18-year-old self. So, and just to have all this now, it's like I have my proof. Like I have my proof.
You
Like,
do have some proof. You
yeah,
do.
like I have like I'm not, really now it's catching up to you. You have a lot of books published, so it's like trying to play catch up.
I don't know if
But
anybody's gonna be able to catch up with me,
yeah,
peer wise. Although I have taken a step back this year. See, I hit the point last year around May. Maybe this was book. It must have been book. That's the thing is I lost count. I I lose
see,
count,
that's a
and
lot.
like I feel like a the stoic in me is just like this is my job. Like on to the next one, and I
That's
don't
how I feel.
really.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't really get the joy from it as much as my joy truly now comes from publishing other people's books.
Mm,
So, like Anna last year, and then with you and other projects that we have coming up. Like this year, my focus has shifted of like me putting out books like under like me as one of the main authors or creators, and more this year is like how can I put people in position to where they're successful and they experience this, and what can I do to help? Um, that's where I get the joy from now. And uh, I have a few ideas for projects, but I'm more focused on clarity and again taking a step back with Blue Byron Books, seeing like, okay, what's the bigger vision? What's my role? How do I a lot is like recruiting and meeting people and making sure projects are moving along. Um, collaboration is like this huge collaboration and collective creation is what's on my mind. Whereas last year in 2025, it was like I'm starting to label it as my 1988 Jordan year, where
hmm
Michael Jordan, he was the scoring champion. So he was the highest points per game. He had his it was like 37 points a game. He had like 1.6 blocks, like 3.5 steals. He was the MVP and the defensive player of the year and scoring champion. Like individually, like the best Jordan year,
mm,
but he lacked that championship, you know?
right, right.
So then for me, like last year, published a lot of books and music albums. And now it's like, okay, now that was I'm I put that out there. Now how can I step back and win championships? You know? So I'm taking more of the Phil Jackson role with it.
Oh, nah,
I
that's a
view
very good
myself
rule.
more as like the
The
coach
sacred hoop.
now
Yeah.
rather than Jordan out here just publishing books, music, just like
Nah, yeah, cause
individually creatively prolific, you know? Now it's about the
and
collective.
nah, and see that's where you and I always we go hand in hand. It's like, you know, you're the coach and me, I want to be Kobe, you
Yeah.
know. Like that's always I guess subconsciously, like as a kid, like my first when I played football, right? My first number was 8. And I couldn't remember where, but I'm like, you know what? It had to be because of Kobe. And reading like his Mamba Mentality, watching his documentary, it's like, you know, it is the work. Like it's the work. And it's like you have to love the work more than, the destination, the outcome. Regardless of the fact the work is going to get you there, regardless, it's inevitable. but you have to love the work more than anything because if not, then yeah, eventually it gets overwhelming and you probably just crash out or whatever, and a lot of people give up. So, and that's like how you said, like for you, it was just another book published. You move on to the next work, and I can agree with that. Like I try to install like that stoic part in me
Yeah.
of, like yeah, I love what I do, but I love the work more. Like, or I try to convince myself like I need to fall in love with the work more because regardless of the fact, like I keep working regardless if it gets recognition or not through the course of and I steal this from Kobe, right? It's not about okay, it's not about March 5th, I'm showing the world that I have a poetry book, right? It's now like, okay, how many for 2026? This is the first book for 2026, right?
Hmm.
2025 was four books. So 2026 this is the start of the first book. But now how many other books can I get going or published within 2026? You
What
know,
is your goal?
so now I have this book done and okay, so I told you I had some other writings that I have to type out and I'm not sure what to make of it. I mean, there it is philosophical. I know that for sure. It's not poetic or anything. It's just random topics that I had when I was in prison. Just I had a topic the storyteller, I had a topic the black community, I had another topic about life, um, desires and things like, things of that nature. And I just philosophically just wrote. So I wanna do something. I wanna work on that. I want us to work on that. And I aim to have that published by the end of the year. So from right there, okay, it'll be 2026, it'll be two books. And I'll just keep going. So within the course of 5 years, how many books can I get published within 5 years? Because I want to look at it like within my lifetime of actually like saying like, you know what, I want to be a writer. This is how many books I have done, right? We looked up authors who have written 50 books, 75 books. And it's like five, yeah, on for an average level is good, but it's not compared to that. Like 50, like, can I get to 50?
I
That's
did
my
48
question.
last year.
Bam, right? So, and you're
A few of
already,
those weren't mine, but I did work on the projects.
yeah. But see, but for me, that's the question. Like, can I get to 50? Can I personally get to 50 if
Like
I can make
total?
in total? Like, not to
Total.
say like once I get to 50, I'm done, but at least for the most part, can I get to 50? Like, because to me, that's incredible. Like, I have 50 books of poems, short stories, philosophical writings, you
Does
know.
the goalpost move now in the 21st century of like the numbers? You know, like in the NFL where it became more of a passing game. So these
Hmm.
quarterbacks are putting up and receivers are just putting up a lot bigger numbers. Um, or like with the 3-point line, and now people are shooting a lot more three pointers. So there's more points scored in a game in the NBA. Like with the
Hmm.
21st century and the tools we have at our fingertips, does 50 books from someone who was a baby boomer published, what is the equivalent of that for a millennial, or like Gen Z?
Um, hmm, I'm not
Or does
sure.
it
I mean,
stay the same at 50? 50 is like 50 intellectual property works. I don't know.
well, no, I think the goal or the aim would be to like surpass like, the previous generation. So if 50 was the mark, then 51 should be the goal for our generation, or 55. It should always be to, you know, surpass, whatever, that mark was. Uh it's just like let's just take Bam out of bio, right? So, and this is kind of
What
common
are your
now,
thoughts on him? So Bam Adebayo scored 83,
83.
breaking
So
Kobe's record of 81. What are your thoughts on that?
I already knew eventually that time was going to come because, like you say, like, okay, so even though that was a part of that was a part of my generation. I remember being a kid and watching that game
Yeah.
um, of Kobe scoring 81. But just as time goes on, records are going to be broken. Now, nobody has hit Wilt Chamberlain's record of 100, you know, but look at the times back then where that
It's a
was a
nice even
phenomenon.
number too.
Yeah, like
100, you know?
that was phenomenal when he did that, right? But
Yeah.
there's going to come a time eventually, maybe we might be older, to where we see a person score 101 points in a single game. Where we're like, holy shit, like that's
There's a lot of
history.
three-pointers, a lot of three-pointers, I'm guessing.
However it
But
looks,
what's
right?
crazy with Bam, so I looked at the like box score. Like what was it? He was 36 of 43 from free throws. So a lot of them
Uh
came from free
Free
throws.
throws. Yeah, he went
And
to the
his
line a
shooting
lot.
percentage was actually kind of low. It was like 7 of 22.
Somebody did a match with him and Kobe, right? So, and Kobe's field goal percentage was higher at his time, right? So because people were trying to say like who really had a better game. And from I wish I'd have liked it and kept that stat comparisons. But it seemed like Kobe had a better game though, right? Now, what I feel from the game, and I want to tie it back into this, is like, but you're aiming to break a record. And I feel like from right there, like that shows the seriousness of your craft, like how serious you are in the field
Yeah.
that you're in. It's like, okay, Kobe set a scoring record of 81 points in a single game, right? I want to be the one to try to set at least 82, and he went for 83. So that's a good thing right there. Not a lot of players are doing that. Even Curry, right? Which Curry is the best three-point shooter in the league. So right there, I know like, and the reason why I say it's a personal thing because this for me it shows your character. Like a person that like when you're committed to your writing, regardless if it's good or bad, right? It's a statistics game. I read this book where it's like you play a numbers game. Regardless if it's good or bad, you get it out. Because if you write 100 books, within that 100, you're gonna at least have five good ones. That's like, they're deemed worthy of really being published, a bestseller. Like, but you have to endure that mental pain of writing because we already know how everything that comes with writing books, right? But to write 100, I've written 100 books, and five of them were good enough right there. Like one, come on, people are gonna quit after the first two. If the first two doesn't even seem good, people are gonna quit. But to
So
keep going. Now go ahead.
based off of that number 100, there's a ancient Chinese proverb or something. Some ancient Chinese something that's like the philosopher has a group of students and then assigns one group to create 100 clay pots and the other group to create one clay pot. And then, for a certain duration. And after that duration, who has the best pots? Is it
Mhm.
the group that focused on creating one perfect clay pot, or was it the group that made 100 clay pots? And it was the group with 100 clay pots because through the process, you're not worried. Once you eliminate perfection, you do something so often and you repeat the process. You get so good at a process You're
Yes.
unafraid of mistakes. You just keep learning, learning, and learning. And
Yeah.
through that, you over the aggregate just create better. And it's the same thing if a professor does assigns one group 100 paintings versus create one painting. The one painting, and I feel like most people in our society, the narrative around art and creativity is focused on like, oh, the person who spent 5 years working on this one album or this one painting. But in reality, actually, it was photography. So if you take one photo versus 100 photos, and
Hmm.
you could do this with paintings too,
Hmm.
the group can the consistent thread is that the groups with subscribed with 100 consistently created the best works.
And I agree with that. And that goes back to just falling in love with the work, right? Because let's say because you use the clay pots, right? Let's keep it to that. And 100 clay pots, right? You're making this. Even if it's in a group setting, like you're working with a team to make this, right? How many people start to get, you know, unmotivated by clay pot number 10? And how many more people, let's say if it's five of us, right? And our task is to make 100 clay pots, right? And hopefully, come up with this one excellent one. Let's not say perfect, but an excellent clay pot. So we have 100 tries. How many people will still be around, at the end when it gets to that 100th one? Like, not too many people would like, because just the whole process of it, it's like you really have to go through like that mental endurance of like fuck, I gotta stay focused on the task. Like I have to stay focused on the task. And life hits us so many times with other distractions, and it's like now it becomes like, you know what? I'm gonna just do this because my mind is starting to trick me and convincing me like, man, you know what? It's better to just give up on this and do this. It's like it's more easier, it's more convenient. It's less stressful. This and that, and some people, be persuaded by that. But to say, you know what, regardless of the fact, the task is that we need to create a clay pot, and if it takes 100 tries to do this, then this what it is. But that process right there, because it shows strength in your character, and that's where I'm getting at. It's like to stay focused on a lot of this stuff. It's like I've been writing for years. Like some of these poems, like the longer ones, have been like 5 years in the making, maybe 2 years in the making, 3 years in the making of writing the first draft, working on it a little bit, like, okay, I can say this better, putting it to the side, writing other poems, doing other little journal writings, coming back to it maybe a year later, with just more deeper insight of things. And hey, you know what, this sounds better. I can say this, or I can take this out, come back another year later, read a few other poems, learned a few other things, and like, you know what, I can change it all like this. I can change it all like that. Like, think about it. It's 365 days in a year. So a lot of distractions can come about within that time. And people
Especially
like
today,
to
yes.
so it's like people tend to like a book, can like you can start on something and put it to the side, and you can tell yourself like I'll get back to it later, but then later never comes. And it's like you look up and it's like, man, like one of my a goal that I had is just sitting to the side collecting dust. And
Yeah.
it's like so that's why for me, like right now, it's just so amazing, just to have 5 books to and really work on you, work with you with these books. And the fact that we've been going 6 years strong now at this point, almost 6 years.
Yeah.
Well, six
Yeah.
years, really, we could say that 6 years. And it's like we just always like we always share the same vision. You know, we had that curiosity and we
Two
shared that.
views, one vision.
Yeah, nah, like, but for real, we really shared this vision. Like, hey, man, like, we really are writers, and it's like, for me, I like it because I know, like, the universe, like, okay, if you really are serious, I'm gonna put these things in your path, and you're gonna have that opportunity to take advantage of it or not. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like it's a clip, right? I don't know what movie it's from, but it's Morgan Freeman. He's talking to this young lady, and I want to use this as another analogy, right? So he says in the clip, he tells the young lady, like, okay, if a person prays to God for courage, right? Do you think God, like, just gives that person courage, or puts that person in opportunities to where they can exercise courage? And
Mm.
I sat with that. I was like,
That's
whoa,
a good. That's a good one.
so that was deep, right? So it's the same. Like I've always said since 2018 when I was in the hole, I wanted to be a writer. So this is like the question is give me 1 minute. If the question is God gonna just magically make me a writer, like just transformation overnight? You're a writer. Just start writing. Or is he's gonna give me opportunities to show myself that I'm a writer? Like, are
Yeah.
regardless if I throw the distractions your way, if dealing with editors where even when Claire came about, I love that, right? Because when we're all sitting talking now, in my head, like I went to this therapist after that, our first meeting, right? And I'm like, shit, like this is this is serious. Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling them, like, yeah, I just had a Zoom meeting with my co-author and my editor, and my editor, she was like just critiquing me with stuff, and I need to go back and I need to rewrite certain this. I need to take a section out or be more specific in this section and this and that. And it's like in my head in the beginning, and I tell people like it's not so much of you're gonna write something and think that it's just gonna go on page. Like you're gonna have an editor to really critique your work and feel that you might go back, fix certain things, and then bring it forth again, and then you might have to go back again. So it's like, how many people would just say, they just throw in the towel and say, you know what, it isn't worth it, you know?
Yeah.
And
The
that
amount. That's a like that first session with an editor critiquing and providing feedback can just be so demoralizing. I've been through a number of them, and it's just, man, you get punched in the face, you know? Um,
and so nah, but I'm like, that's why I'm telling her, I'm like, this is real, but this is what I want. So I have to love this. Like I have to love it,
yeah.
and I had a friend. So when I told him now, like, yeah, I'm like, cause he had asked me at one time, like, he's like, yeah, what's been so how you been feeling, man? You almost out and everything, you almost out the halfway house. And I'm like, man, I feel good, just trying to get, the poetry book ready. Like this is at the time when we were still getting the poetry book ready and stuff. So he's like, man, how does it feel? Like you have what, 5 books? Like how does that feel? And I was like, truthfully, like, it goes back, I'm like, man, if you don't love the work, then you're not gonna last long in this game. Like you're not gonna last long. Like,
Yeah.
it's really like a sacrifice of being alone a lot, because for me, like I have to be in solitude. I have to feel lonely in order for me to tap into that deep thought, and go into deep insight, to when I write certain things, and just to have that focus as well, the stillness of the room. So I can have that focus of when I'm researching something, I can read it and I can understand what I'm reading. And then I can think about how to strategically apply this to paper, you
Yeah.
know? So, and it's that sacrifice, like, of not communicating with family members all the time, friends all the time, not. hanging out, and socializing with people all the time. It's like it's a lot of the times like it's just this, Rich. Like it's just on my bed in a quiet room.
Yeah,
Like
you're very Kobe-esque, Michelangelo-esque. Kobe was very like Michelangelo a little bit. I aspire to be more like Da Vinci, where I think Da Vinci had a little bit more fun, whereas Michelangelo tormented himself. I feel like
no,
Kobe in his
yeah,
isolation,
yeah, no, that's for me. I like it like that. Don't get me wrong. Like I do like to have my
because you
fun
love
and
the
stuff
work.
like that.
You wouldn't isolate
Yeah.
yourself if you didn't love something more than the opposite.
No, like because even when you first said like, hey, let's create a book, immediately I'm on board because it's already like I always want to do that, work on a project with you anyway. But
Yeah,
immediately, like, okay, so times where you were out, you were hanging with friends and stuff like that, like, yeah, don't get me wrong, like that's great. And for me, like, yeah, there will be times even when I'm out of here that I will hang with friends, but it will be a lot of times where it's just like this. Like I'm at my own
yeah,
spot and I'm into my work because I love my work more than all that. Like, not to say that socializing with people is bad, you know, it's actually it is healthy just for, the human spirit, you know, and the well-being of us is healthy, right? But this for me because it just hits different when you sat in a cell for so long and
yeah,
you looked at reality for what it was, not under the influence of no drugs,
yeah.
just
It's just
sober
naked.
minded. Yeah, like, and you just accepted it. Well, you had two choice, right? You either accepted it or you didn't, right? And for the most part, if you didn't, then that's when you ran to drugs or other things to, you know, try to paint it with your emotions of how you wanted to see it. But when you accepted it for what it was, when you accept the reality for what it is, the raw naked truth, and you accept that sober minded, and you be like, okay, well, this turnaround, I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna live my life how I want to do it. I mean, we all do it anyway. Like everybody lives their life how they see fit. But for me, it's like I love to work. you know like if I'm doing if I'm not like physically at work, then it's like on my days off I'm working, like I'm working on like my projects, like
Yeah,
there's like I'm aiming for another book. I'm constantly keeping the work because for me it's the productivity. It's like I feel alive when I'm doing that you know
yeah. When I'm working on Blue Byron Books, I don't even notice the time. The only time I pay attention to the time is like when I have to set timers because I have to watch the clock because I'm going to collaborate with someone else. Like all day. It's just like if you love it, you just like I think that's a good indicator. If you love something, you just don't notice the clock much. You just don't. You're just so immersed in
no, for real,
the
like
joy of the process.
you're like really like locked in into what you're doing. So, and that for me is like it's just it's amazing. All right, I'm gonna just say it now. Like I tried like to keep this out. So for me personally, like it's a better flex. Like
For
when you come
what?
from like, all right, so when you're black and like you come from my setting, it's like getting a car like a Mercedes or something like that. That's a flex, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
he has a
Yeah.
Mercedes Benz or something. People get Cuban link chains or whatever, a grill. You look like something. But not too many people that is like that can say they've written a book or written five
Yeah.
books. Like so like they lack something intellectually, and not people can hold intellectual conversations for hours or, really talk about, deep things in the world. Um, some people say like they like those stuff, and I used to have conversations with them, and it's like it'd be surface level stuff, but for me, like, yeah, like just writing this book, like this is a big flex for me. Like, this is what I do.
Yeah.
And in my spare time, like this is what I choose to do. I write, like,
Yeah.
and,
I feel like
and
this one is so distinctive in that it's, well, I'm holding this up and it's camouflage into you
and
can't even
it's
see it,
crazy,
can you?
like if you back it up, like it blends, like you just see the words, like it's like, it could be floating, but it's just camouflage in
Um,
tapestry.
yeah, the tapestry is what we
uh,
inspired with the cover. How do you think it turned out physically, like as the book?
I think like I wish I could show it on the front camera. I could switch over. So like just how, okay, bam, right? And we got the wallpaper
Yeah.
and this to the side. It really came out nice though, you know. And then when you turn the page, it ends, it has a blank page right here, which is it's cool, right? Because now on the blank page, then you have like on the other side, then you have the wallpaper again.
Yeah.
So which I feel like for this, like like for my first poetry book, like this was good. Like this was really good. Like the print of it.
I feel like it distinguishes you as an author, whereas like the four we had before were co-authors, but this one just comes out and it's just like Timothy, solo artist kind of thing, you know?
No, no, yeah, like it has to be a point where too, like, yeah, you have a co-author and yeah, you're working with somebody on something, but then as a writer's, yourself, like you want to have some of your
Yeah,
own
you're
solo
like your
work.
own now. Yeah.
You have to, yeah, and that's the whole goal too. Is like we're gonna work on more projects together, but then on the side too is like I also have solo work as well.
Yeah, now
Whereas,
you're distinguishing yourself,
yeah,
you
so
know?
and that's for me. It's like that's gonna be
Yeah.
that's gonna, I think actually now I think that for this one it can be another because I told myself like I want to just stick to poetry and short stories, right? Because I have a short story written and I got other ideas for short stories. But this one is more like the whole Marcus Aurelius meditation type of thing where,
Mm.
he just writing philosophical stuff and like when I bring it out, I got the draft somewhere in my folder, so I gotta bring it out. Um, but maybe so that you and I both we'll figure something out for that. But I want to work with you.
Yeah.
I want to work with you with that just to see like what can we make out of that. You
Okay.
know, because that's at least about I want to say 60 pages of like just stuff I was writing. And I
Okay.
mean it might come out to more, after we do like the editing and everything. But yeah, I sat here the other day and I'm like, you know what? I have to do that. Like I have to do that. Like
Mm.
that's gonna be phenomenal. The only thing now is I want to figure out when I do get the short story, like how to go about that because handwritten that's 19 pages. Um, I don't know if I should like set a goal to, oh, you know what? Huh. I might have to do, okay, so set a goal. I have one short story. Um, I have to type that out just to see how many pages that'll be. And then maybe I'll make that just be my first book, like my first short story book, a collection. Like, five, maybe I set the goal to five short stories. So I got four more and come up with four short
Five, I
stories,
feel like 10. I feel like 10 would be
10
a
short
good number,
stories. Uh,
right? I don't know.
Let's
One last thing
let's
about a mind left unchecked.
mhm.
Something that was on my mind as we were putting it together is one of my goals was that this be the last book that I 100% am the designer. Like I view this as my last like work in a way, where
Um,
my goal is to, with Blue Byron Books, bring more people in
mhm.
that are on kind of like the design in the design lane, design
Oh,
track,
got you. Yeah, yeah.
and like collaborate with them on it. Whereas like
That'd be dope.
this was
That'd be dope.
100% me with the design, like putting it together, every
Yeah.
aspect of it, but um like certain other books, others are formatting it, like the rich editions. Someone formats that. We come up collaboratively with which fonts to use and what wallpaper designs to use. Um,
No, it's really building a team. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking to build a team, and this is like my last solo. I this is like what I'm trying to make happen. Is like this is my last solo work. At least for other people, I don't know. My own books, like the nuance and notes, I might design those. I don't know. But at
No,
least like I was in the mindset of like this, I want this to be like my last 100% design book. I don't know.
no, I know. I agree with that because like how and when you said that, now I picture right like how you and I had the Zoom meeting with Claire, you know, for just the editing part of it, right? And the font type of it. Now we'll go to someone else for like the design part of it.
Like putting the books together, like
Yeah, we have
I can kind of like assist and guide the overall aesthetic and certain things, but um the hard part is giving that up because I love designing. It's like to like just go in InDesign, not even look at the clock and the time, but just it's so tangible of like moving something over like an eighth of an inch, and being
yeah,
like, yeah, it looks so much better now. And like just the spacing and all these different things. Um, I love it. It's a visual thing.
yeah.
And I can, listen to music in the background. I can, it's just like I'm really in it. I love that aspect of it, but I know to grow, I need to like step back a bit and let others um find the joy in that.
Nah, that's and however way you want to go, if that's the way, then I'm on board. Like for me, that's just more productive because it's like it sounds good when I used to, tell people like, man, I got a Zoom meeting with my co-author and editor. So now to be like, I got a Zoom meeting with my co-author and my designer, of how I need this book to go. And, today I got a Zoom meeting with my co-author and designer. And then the next day or the day after, I got a Zoom meeting with my co-author and editor just to go over like, the editing part. Like it's really becoming more like of this is now being like part of my life. Like, you
It's
know,
fun. It's
no,
thoughtful.
it is fun. So, and it's like I had a friend right now, at my door, and I told him give me a minute. And but this is how like for me it's so fun because people know like okay, yeah, like Tim has a lane, he writes, and he's serious about it. And I'm the type of person, and I think that's the more stoic part in me is like that character. I try to remind myself much on character, right? And it's like this is what this is what you really do. It's like the seriousness of it, like the strength of the focus of it. It could be so easy to be like, oh, Rich, hey, let me call you back and run to the door, see what's going on. But to stay focused on this because, this is like one of my passions, you know,
Yeah.
like for me, I love it. Because I can just come from a neighborhood I was brought up where, not too many people had like dreams and goals and ambition like that. So for this, like that's why I say it's personal for me. Like this is like really fun, and just coming from a lot of schools where, you know, not too many people had not too many people had goals for themselves outside of, if it was sports related, you know.
Mhm.
Um and I love it personally because it's different, and it's like I have this thing where everybody is walking one way and I'm, to the side alone walking another way.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, so it's like I love it. Like I just love it.
yeah.
So,
Well,
man,
it's been a pleasure catching up with you on this podcast episode. Anything else to wrap up?
just look forward to the next project.
Here we go.
That's
Timothy Hayden II.